Greetings, ladies and metal gents, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Cheating Prospers, written by Garrick. Deep in the Andes mountain shelter, 2456 AD. Sir, the last fleet has fallen. Troop transports are inbound. We expect the fall of Earth in about 2 days at most. He had hoped things would not go this far. The new ships had been Earth's last hope, and they performed quite well, but in the end, it had not been enough. The Firaxan had just been too strong. He looked at the captive with him and the rest of the science team in the room. The former captain was clearly gleeful, as was only to be expected.
Don't feel bad, human. Your species held us back for nearly 50 years. That's far longer than any we encountered so far. Once your children have been indoctrinated into our culture, you will have the honor of becoming battle thralls for the clans. Only one other non-Firaxian species has so far had that chance. Of course, we'll have to cull your adults to prevent wrong thoughts, but your species has fought hard enough to survive.
I guess you're right, Aranizzi, and one of you. You gave us the information needed to build the last generation of combat ships. What will your people do once they discover this?
You need not to worry. I'm sure that even the last fight of your people was a great one, and that will go down in the annals of history. I will be remembered for that, and if you decide to kill me, well, that's the price I am willing to pay.
No, Renzi, I swear we will not kill or even harm you. It is against our way. But tell me, did we ever truly stand a chance?
Now that it no longer matters, I shall let you in on a secret, human. The Battle of Miri, in your year 2432, you had shattered our fleet. What was left of yours was in a tattered but still functional state. We had thus far not taken you as seriously as we should. Our shipyards were barely producing. Our industry was at a maintenance level still. Had you pushed through, our heartlands would have been vulnerable to attack. You might have won then.
We considered that, but we detected a fresh fleet in the next system. We did wonder why it took you 2 years to renew the assault.
Yes, our greatest deception. Garbage scows, decommissioned vessels without weapons or even jump drives, sensor ghosts. The sub-Khan who cobbled that together was rewarded with his own planet once it worked. It gave us the time to go to war footing. Had your ships been of current quality, had you known, then you might have won, but now you will bow to us.
Suddenly, Aranizzi noticed a shift in demeanor. The humans were clearly doing something with an ancient-looking computer and looked hopeful. You were honest with us, so I guess you deserve to know. You want to know what this is, right? Rodrigo gestured at the machine, which had a strange, archaic, yet at the same time esoteric look. It has a name, with things like quantum, chronal, and entanglement in it, but we call it the Save Scummer, a nod to a pastime for many of us. It was invented by a scientist in the then country of Nigeria in the year 2076. He was a brilliant yet also insane physicist, in a country that at the time was not considered a scientific paragon. In practice, it is a computer that allows the sending of information from one time to another. It uses principles like hypercoms, but few truly understand it.
Aranizzi looked shocked. You cannot use that. That could cause a paradox. It might even destroy the universe.
Yes, the scientists believed the same, and thus kept it hidden. But 35 years later, as we were warring amongst ourselves, an amateur astronomer discovered an asteroid on collision course with Earth, coming from an angle we thought was unlikely to be a threat. By the time it was discovered, it was too late, and the calculated power was enough to assume only the microbes would survive. So the scientist figured that if he was going to die anyway, why not go out with a bang? He sent the warning, together with any technological advance since then, to his younger self. That was the first time it was used, and he used that information to get himself taken seriously, to prevent many wars and advance technology, and to save the Earth. Yet it is a kept secret, known only to a few. Today will be only the 3rd time it is used.
You cannot! There is no honor, and you might still destroy the universe. And Wait, when was the second time?
Well, from the information we got the first time around when we met you, we barely lasted a year. Perhaps this time will be the charm.
But you swore not to kill me. What will happen to us here?
To be fair, we do not know, but we never got information from the averted timelines, so as best as we can guess, we just, cease to be. See you on the other side. Hall of the Great Khans, Phyrexia, 2435 AD.
With this treaty, the United Clans of Phyrexia submit to the Confederation of Humanity, ceding the Ash Nebula and all stars within or beyond Rimwood to the Confederation. Also, they will limit their fleet to the numbers agreed in Section 2, Subclass 3. In return, the Confederation promises to help rebuild their planets and act in their defense should they be attacked by a third party.
In the following reception, the Phyrexian negotiator, a young aristocrat named Aruninzi, could not help but try to get a rise out of the human delegation.
You may have defeated us, but both of us know that it was a fluke. Had you not gotten lucky at Miri, we would have crushed you in time. But know that this is but a momentary respite. You will have attracted the attention of the Nudo Archdeaconate, and they will not be as gentle as we were.
The human delegation shared a look. We shall see, young one, but why don't you tell us all about it? After all, forewarned is forearmed. End of story. Story number 2. The Doctrine of Useful Idiots, written by Paggy UK. Ambassador Festius of the Vashtu Directorate, discoverer of humanity, accidental savior of the galaxy, eternal sufferer of the Council Idiocy, and devoted viewer of human YouTuber Chapter Master Valric, liked to think that he was a patient being. He had endured wars, plagues, invasions, philosophical movements, and once an entire 4 hours in a karaoke bar in Manchester. To put it frankly, he was used to dealing with idiots. But nothing tested his patience like introductions to new species. Some were outright xenophobic and hostile, others were smug and condescending, until he discovered humans. Vestius discovered Earth purely by accident on a little holiday in the dead zone of the Orion Arm. He realized almost immediately that he was starting to lose his sanity. Humanity, he quickly learned, was a species that had split the atom twice just to see if the second time was funnier, created the internet and immediately filled it with memes and porn, explaining why American football is called baby rugby by everyone except Americans, developed a fictional universe so grimdark that several alien species needed therapy after reading the wiki. And humanity's crown jewel, its philosopher and king of law, was an aging and balding YouTuber named Chapter Master Valrek. Vestius adored him immediately, his quaint falling off the roof story that had spawned a drinking game which had actually killed people, his half-hearted denials of working for Games Workshop despite being on their board, and his hilarious claims to being blacklisted, all added to his naive, childlike charm. Vestius binge-watched hundreds of hours, even though human Warhammer lore counted as psychological torture under 6 interstellar conventions. But the heart wants what it wants, and so Vestius sponsored humanity for council admission. This proved to be the single most consequential blunder in galactic history. Humans joined the council with an enthusiasm never before seen. Almost instantly, chaos erupted. The council's daily schedule, once filled with dull but important matters like border conflict negotiations and quantum trade disputes, was now filled with emergency karaoke restriction hearings, investigations into human use of ancient relic as a cup holder, petition to ban humanity from helping with anything ever, cultural misunderstanding session 88, why you do not pat the Hulian on the head. But then, something strange happened. Wars stopped completely, civil disputes died down, and races got together. Whole sectors forgot their ancient hatreds as they instead cooperatively filed human-related grievances. Humanity, through sheer oblivious chaos, has become the linchpin of galactic peace. They weren't diplomats, nor were they warriors. They were strategic distractions. The Council officially classified them as Species 405-C, useful idiots, critical to galactic stability. And life was good, and the galaxy prospered like never before. Then, the human ambassador Jennifer Patel declared one morning in the Galactic Council chamber, Humanity will now strive to fit in and behave responsibly. It was the single most alarming sentence ever spoken in council chamber that left many a diplomat stunned into silence. Within a week, no karaoke complaints, no accidental extra-dimensional breaches, no teaching alien children the New South Wales Rugby League rules, no science experiments labeled probably fine, no cultural misunderstandings requiring 17 apologies, and a fruit basket. The complaint docket emptied, and ambassadors mulled about in confusion. They had nothing to do. And the galaxy immediately began tearing itself apart. Ancient wars reawakened, trade federations collapsed, civil wars reignited. 4 financial systems crashed after having time to actually check their books. The Galactic Council panicked, and a desperate delegation led by Vestius burst into the human embassy. "Humans!" he cried. "You must stop improving yourselves!" Patel blinked. "We thought you wanted fewer incidents." "We don't!" Vestius wailed. "Your chaos is the glue holding civilization together." The Helloon delegate bowed, melodramatic in every fold of their mantle. "You must return to your natural cultural state. Insane, stupid, or preferably both." Patel raised an eyebrow. "So you want us to go back to how we were?" The council screamed in unison, "Yes." The next day, a human scientist accidentally invented reverse coffee and briefly unaged a Klanoxy ambassador. Someone mixed vodka with a quantum battery. Space was sticky for hours. A wormhole was opened to a dimension made entirely of sentient bread. And the Vorak requested a 4th ban on baby rugby, as wearing pads is gear. The docket filled, war talk vanished, the galaxy stabilized. Peace, stupid, pointless, structurally idiotic peace returned. Vestius, relieved that reality wasn't collapsing, finally returned to what truly mattered. Watching his beloved chapter master Valrek. He wiped away a tear as he remembers how the universe had been unkind to the beloved human lawmaster. Centuries earlier, Valrek had been at the top of his game, scamming millions of unsuspecting law fans, and then, as all things do, his downfall. Tragically and suspiciously, he was converted into a servo skull by one of his less than loyal followers, a fan known only as Daka. Daka claimed Valrek had ascended into peak law delivery form. But Games Workshop claimed this was unlicensed copyright infringement and sued Valrek for millions. Valrek himself, now a floating skull with a GoPro and a backpack of battery packs, simply resigned himself to his fate. "All right, lads, we're going to break down these new leaks." Daka kept Server Skull Valrek as a toy for enrichment purposes until a landmark ruling in the 24th century Terran Supreme Court determined Server Skull Valrek is barely intelligent and only passes for sentience in the broadest sense and legally permitted to continue making videos. He was freed, plugged into a charger, and started to immediately resume uploading videos to an unsuspecting galaxy. Vestius watched all of it with reverence. And now, at last, after restoring the galaxy's equilibrium through diplomatic begging, he dimmed his lights, made the pot of Viridani blooming tea, and turned to the newest upload. "The law has changed again, lads. 25th century Mega Ultramarines update." Servo Skull Valrek floated on screen, humming as his servos whirred. Vestius' heart filled with joy. Finally, he had peace. Humanity, proudly stupid and gloriously chaotic, had once again saved the galaxy. And Vestius could sit back and watch his favorite skull-shaped YouTuber in bliss. End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholt, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.